Welcome to Drizzleland, where we are going to be doing a brand new show on the channel, being a little bit more open. This show is basically called Good Video Games or just pure torture games, to the point to where you want to rip your hair out. And were they really thinking when they were inventing it to entertain people, or just being a dog shit? So, the first game we're going to be talking about is a good game, actually. The original Max Payne game for the PlayStation 2. What I loved about this game as I was playing it was, for one thing, it's a pretty damn good game. I mean, you basically just go on missions, collect kick-ass weapons. Levels were pretty entertaining. Um, can't complain overall. The only thing that I would say is a little screwed up is the controls. I don't know if they were smoking a ton of weed before they decided to mess up the control system. But the gameplay itself is actually really awesome, but the control system is like dog turd. It's so annoying. You can actually be targeting something and then have a stray bullet fly off a wall and kill you, which is pretty damn retarded, honestly. But overall, it's probably one of the better games for the PS2. So we'll move on from that to a game that actually got bad reviews, but I thought it was entertaining. Yes, there was a celebrity deathmatch video game for the PlayStation 2, guys, and it was entertaining and funny because you could be people like Howard Stern, uh, and Nicole Smith, one of the Charmed characters. You could be Marilyn Manson. Um, Actually, I'll show the cover to you. Hopefully, the light's not that bad there. Overall, the gameplay for this, what would I say? It's really entertaining because of some of the special features, like some of the moves you can do. As far as storyline, it's completely boring to play and unlock everybody. It just takes forever. But as far as gameplay, like if you're playing against somebody else, it's actually not that bad of a game. It's actually pretty entertaining, and the specials are really funny that you can do on other people. Um, so we'll move on to another game. Um, Kingdom Hearts. This was actually, we're going to talk about both games, the first two. Um, I thought these games were incredibly hard to play, but very entertaining because it incorporated so many Disney characters, so many awesome movies for levels. I think that there's over 75 levels in each game. It can literally take about a year to beat both games. Um, and eh, if you have the time and the effort and the patience to be able to do it, okay, but we're we're not gonna get into like each level and stuff because I don't even remember. I mean, when I was playing these games, I was literally just staying up night and day trying to beat them to unlock all the levels and the different characters you can use. And that's what I liked is I liked the scrolling ability, in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, because you could literally do outrageous moves as far as like combinations. I like the bosses in these levels as well because they incorporate villains from the movies. It's absolutely amazing. It's definitely a game I totally recommend. Okay, then we're gonna talk about a few games that I don't oh, they were just torture fucking ass to play because they were horrible. Horrible for the PlayStation 2. I mean, god awful. So we're gonna. Alright. This is the biggest dog turd game ever invented for the PS2. This was the worst wrestling game on the PlayStation 2. I would rather get kicked in the nuts 45 times than play this garbage. Um, the only thing that I want to say about this game, it's good that they put all these legends into the game, but the gameplay is just shitty as hell. Glitchy. You could be in the move of trying to counter somebody's finishing move, and the buttons or the controller will just freeze and you can't do anything. Um, the other thing that's just a pain in the ass is when you have a created superstar, um, it will not let you take move sets from other superstars on the game as your own. You actually have to unlock all these different moves. So, for example, like you could be wrestling, and then like basically you'd only have like 3 or 4 moves to defeat somebody before you could even unlock those moves. Um, this game was complete and total ass. I mean, I would rather put a dog turd in here than ever put this in a PS2 ever again. It is absolutely horrible. It is one of the worst games ever made for the PS2. Um, then we're gonna talk about another game that I think is total garbage that people for some reason got into it, and I never did. I never liked it. Uh, the James Bond game, 007 Nightfire, piece of shit. This game was literally one of the worst James Bond games ever made. Um, Horrible acting, voiceovers. Um, Constantly the game would skip and freeze. Um, I remember playing this game in 2-player mode with my one of my buddies back in the long time ago era, and we would literally just laugh because we would freeze one another when we were shooting at each other. Um, Sometimes the guns would actually malfunction and blow you up. It was literally the biggest piece of dog turd ever made as a James Bond game. I never understood why people liked this game. I thought it was dog turd. It was horrible. And the last game I want to talk about is it's an EA Sports game, and trust me, like I loved Madden. I grew up playing it, but 2006 was the worst Madden game I've ever played in my whole entire life. Um, Now GM mode, like they added all these different features in this game to make it sound like, oh, it's one of the best Madden games ever. Buy it, pay the $55 for this piece of garbage. Um, First and foremost, I want to say gameplay was horrible. Um, you'd be trying to set up a play, like let's say an out pass, and it would literally change the play as you're hitting the hike button for the ball. So instead of like the play that you originally had planned, it would just turn into like a down and out pass downfield, which would get tipped and picked off. Um, the other thing I want to talk about is the commentary on the game is just completely shit. I mean, you would hear the same phrase um, over and over again. Now, they were trying really hard with the stadiums and the graphics and stuff. That I have no complaints about that. I'm talking about gameplay. Gameplay for Madden 2006 was just total garbage. Um, and when you even when you use the classic teams, um, half of the players that you knew were not even on the roster. They would just have numbers instead of the person's name. Um, because EA didn't have all the license to all of the player names and all that stuff back in the long time ago era. The other game I want to quickly talk about was NCAA March Madness, 2000 and I think it was 2001, 2002. Um, Again, I like basketball games, but that game was just horrible. It was horribly designed. You didn't have all the teams to choose from. You could only choose from, I believe, 40 teams out of all the colleges. Um, the control system was complete garbage. I mean, you literally would hold down the shoot button, and half the time you would airball it, or you would get a 3 second violation. The foul system was just pathetic. When you would go to the line to shoot your free throws, uh, half the time the ball wouldn't even hit the rim. You'd have to hold three buttons down at the same time to shoot the free throw directly straight. The camera angles were complete bullshit. Um, so with that, that's just good games, bad games, games that I really don't want to ever play ever again. And I don't understand why I spent the money on them. Um, Now, I'm not saying EA didn't have any good games at all for the PS2. They did, but it's just there's some games that was total dog turd. Like Madden 2006, like I said, was complete dog turd. I hated that game. And I think it was overpriced, overrated, and the commentary was just garbage. Like I said, EA also made this James Bond game that I was just talking about, which is also a pain in the ass to play. It's not fun in any form of way. Like I said, March Madness 2001, I think it was one or two, was the game where you literally could not beat the game because the control systems were so freaking retarded. You would just sit there breaking your controller, hammering it against the wall because the control system was just pathetic. It was not like NBA Live, um, which I'm going to say every game NBA Live for the PS2 was a good game. I never had any complaints against that or the hockey games or the baseball games. Um, but yeah, those are just some suggestions of good and bad games for the PS2. I'm going to be doing this series once in a while. We're going to be focusing on other game systems too.